Welcome to week one of the Money Blueprint Bootcamp Challenge. Now, this week, we're going to get a little uncomfortable. We are going to look at everything, every expense, every dollar that you exchange, every dollar you receive. We're just going to look at it all. We're just going to look at it all. It might be uncomfortable. That's okay. It's normal. It's good. Uh, but the point is to look because you can't change things that you avoid. If you're avoiding your bank account's not going to change. Your spending habits aren't going to change. If you avoid the reality of which you're in, you're going to continue down that same reality. So that's what we're going to do. Just like pat yourself on the back, give yourself a hug. Congratulations, you're doing it. Because most people do avoid this. And a lot of people near my age, I'm 23, and younger, and even a few years older, struggle to realize how important caring for their money is for the longevity. So if you can set the baseline of your habits now, when you're 30, 40, even 50, you're going to be looking back and being like, thank goodness I figured it out then. And I know nowadays that like our parents are struggling. I know my parents have struggled. Our grandparents are struggling. Like, because money has changed. Everything costs more now. You know, debts are easier to get. And once you're in the cycle of debt, it's hard to get out of the cycle of debt. So let's start with number one and look at what life actually costs you. All right, let's get in it. Let's get into it. Let's dive in and look at what money actually costs you, what your lifestyle actually costs you, and your money, whatever. So I have pre-built this spreadsheet. You can get it in the link below on this module. What you're going to do is you're going to go to Files first, and then you're going to go Make a Copy, and then you'll have your own that you can edit and input all your stuff. Super simple. So there are 4 sheets to this. You have the start here. There are 5 steps to this. Step 1, go inside the income tab down here. Enter every income deposit from your last 2 to 4 months of bank statements. Now, if you're not sure what a bank statement is or where to get it, a bank statement is basically a credit card for your bank account. You can get them on your mobile app, on your mobile banking app. You can get them on the browser web of your bank, or you can go to your bank and ask for them. Super simple. If you're curious on how to do that more, just Google it. Be like, how do I get my bank statements on this bank? I feel like, from my understanding, they're in different places for each bank you're with. So just look that up for yourself. It's pretty important. If you are not entirely sure how to get the bank statements, which will be important for the expenses and spending, then you can also look at your paychecks, which are given to you from your employer, and sometimes they send them by mail or they send them via email. So that's another way to do it. So step 1, go into the income tab down here, enter every income deposit from your last 2 to 4 months of bank statements. Step 2, go to expense tab, list every month expense assigned to a category and mark it either as fixed or variable. I'll get into that later. And step 3, for variable expenses, enter your spending for each month you have statements for. The sheet auto calculates your average. And then step 4, go to your Step 4, go to the snapshot tab to see your complete financial picture, average income, total expenses, and what is left over. And then 5, bring this completed spreadsheet to your one-on-one session with Phoebe. Me is the foundation of your percentage budget. This really is the foundation. Everything you build from here on out is based on these numbers that you have. So let's go to income. This is what you do. You punch in what you've earned in the months. So like, for example, like let's say this person earned 3,300, 3,500, 3,200, 3,500 over the past 4 months. Maybe they worked a little bit more, maybe they had a few days off. Who knows? Life gets crazy. And then it'll tell you how much you've earned in these last 4 months. And then it'll tell you your average earnings. So like this person, they would on the average earn $3,375. And this number is really important to know, your average month, as well as like your total. It's just nice to know how much you've been making. From there, excuse me, you go into expenses and every dollar going out, categorized, tracked, and ready to budget. So here you say if it's fixed or variable. Now, what I mean by fixed means it's going to be the same amount every single month. You're not going to pay more, you're not going to pay less, you're paying that number. So oftentimes rent is a fix, so you just budget B. Oops, sorry. F, sorry, you punch in F. For renter's insurance, oftentimes it is exact amount. So F, let's do that. Let's do that. Electricity, that's variable. Like it depends on what you are, how much electricity you're using, or hydro, also known in Canada, we call it hydro. Gas and heat, same thing. It's a variable. It's not always consistent unless you're super dialed in. If you pay for water, same thing, variable. Sometimes you use more and less through the month on a monthly basis. Internet typically is fixed. Cell phone typically is fixed until you pay off your cell phone if you're paying for one. Groceries, I would say it's a variable. Not everybody pays the same amount. You can budget for it. I know I have budgeted for it. Like I'm going to give my family $500 a month for food. It doesn't necessarily mean that we max out that budget every time. So it varies. Eating out varies. Health insurance, if you have it, is fixed. Prescriptions, if you have them, typically fixed. Gym memberships, typically fixed. Car payments, typically fixed. Car insurance, fixed. I do know that in the States that they do premium months, so that might be variable, but my experience in Canada, it is typically fixed. Gas, variable. Maintenance, variable. If you have a vehicle, anyways, if you're one that uses transportation, like, excuse me, that's also variable. Like if you use public transit. And then any small bills, Netflix, Spotify, are typically fixed. So then you'll get a clear picture about like which is which, and that helps a lot. Just know that. I have them categorized as housing, bills, food, health, transportation, and small bills. These are the most common in my experience for expenses. I categorize them in such because as we progress, I recommend that you open multiple bank accounts. These can be simple high yield savings accounts. They can just be basic savings accounts, preferably not a checkings account because oftentimes the checkings account comes with a debit card. And if you're somebody who has struggled with spending the money as soon as you get into your account, then that's just another opportunity to spend money that you have saved and ready for your bills. So savings accounts are the ideal. And this is important because when you're continuously receiving money into checkings account or a savings account, typically checkings, and you just transfer chunks of money into a singular savings account that you have, you just see this really big number. And it gives you a false sense of security. It gave me a false sense of security because I would go into my bank account, if I ever did, and I would see, oh, I have a few $1,000s in there. I am fine. I can continue spending the way I am spending. I obviously see that I have enough for my rent, I have enough for my bills, I have enough for my gas, my insurance. Clearly, I am okay. Without thinking like, Do I have enough in my accounts that if I didn't work or got injured at work, would I be able to pay for my lifestyle for the recovery period? Or after all this gets pulled, do I still have enough? Right? So what helps a lot is having an account for housing, which you can name, and most banks allow you to create them on your app. You just go into them, request opening a bank account, and they'll open it typically in the same day or within 24 hours. You can name it housing so that you know, or bills so that you know. And then as we progress through this process, you get paid, you get the percent for housing, you transfer that amount from that paycheck into the housing account, and then you can visually see, I have $400 ready for my housing. Okay, so, and then you would go through month to month. So let's say you paid $1,100 for housing, for rent, all the time, every single month. Doesn't change unless you change your living space. Let's say your renter's insurance is $30 a month. Again, that depends on your insurance provider. Um, let's use this example of having electricity. We'll say it's $60 a month, 1 month. Maybe you didn't turn your AC on, and then or your heat on, excuse me. And then the next month you did, and it was like $80, not 800 like that. And then we'll say it was like 75, and then again we'll say 60. Who knows? So what this does is that it takes all of your previous months for you, adds them up, and then averages them out. So on average, you would pay $68.75 on the average. This is really important. We'll say gas is a very similar one. We'll say 70, 80, 90, 70. I'm just punching in numbers right now on averages that I have experienced. You are going to pull your actual numbers for this. This is really important that you find actual numbers. Water, you say, oh, I don't pay for water. Internet, $80. Oops, $80, $80, $80. Cell phone, those can range. I'm going to say $90. I think that's like a pretty average amount. I know like some people pay over 100, some people pay 50, so I feel like 90 is pretty in between. Groceries, I'm going to say over the month, $400 this month, $350 that month, $425 next month, and then $420 the following month. Actually, I'm going to make that 410. Yeah, it's a better number over here. Eating out. When I lived alone and I ate out all the time, I swear I was spending over $200 a month, which is like wild for me now. Anyways, health insurance, I'm not really familiar with how much those prices are. I know people pay for them. Personally, I don't. It's different in Canada, different in the States. If you pay for this, good for you. If you don't, it's okay too. It's just an extra thing. Gym membership, $80, $80, $80, $80 every month. Getting that pumping iron in. Car payment. If you're somebody who has a car payment, this is really important because it's like a non-negotiable. If you're somebody who bought your car outright, you don't have this. I've never had a car payment. I've always bought my cars all out, cash. My husband used to have a truck payment, and it was like $500 a month. So if you have that in, you don't. Car insurance. I remember I used to pay $215 on my little Nissan Rogue. R.I.P. Eddie. Gas can vary. 1 month, I swear. I woke up in a panic, June 8th, 2022. The date is imprinted in my mind. It's so memorable. I woke up in a panic and I was like, where's all my money going? I'm spending so much money. And I pulled up my phone and I pulled up my journal, opened my banking app. I was like, I need to know this thing. And I wrote down what I was spending money on. And unbelievable. I spent $600 in gas in 30 days. Which, like, for some people, if you're constantly, like, commuting long distance, sure, makes sense. I had a 20-minute commute to my work. So, like, it should not have cost me $600. But it did, because I'm saying yes to it. So, I would say somebody could get around with $200. I know I do, or less a month. Excuse me. Vehicle maintenance. Although this is not a every month thing, these are the things that come up like every few months. Like oil changes come up every few months. So it's really helpful to have the money ready for it for when that expense happens. So I would say like $50 a month. And now that's not even including if you've got to do maintenance, which we'll get into later. Building that up so that you blow a bearing on your car, you can fix it. Your alternator goes, you can buy and fix it. You can get a new battery. These can be small costs, but costs that come out unexpectedly. Netflix, personally, I don't pay for streamings, but I think Netflix is up to like $12 a month. I could be off by a few numbers. And then Spotify. I think it's like $13. I have YouTube Premium, which I get teased about a little bit for that. Anyways, so now that we've put in all these expenses, I hope you're bearing with me, right? Like your expenses categorized by housing bills, food, health, transportation, small bills. Each one, if you have more, you can totally add it. You just go to this and you type it in. Like if instead of Spotify, I could put YouTube. You can totally adjust these. If you have more small bills, you can add small bills. If you have more things for housing, you just simply come here, click here. Right click, go down, insert row below. You don't have any, you just delete the row. Again, right click. It is totally customizable for your own self. If you have more months, you can add another month. Here, you go to the top, right click, add row, add column, and you can pull it over and put it there, yada yada. But 4 months should be basically enough for you. And then at the bottom here, it'll tell us the average monthly cost, living cost, right? The average monthly living cost. So like remember in the income, it tells you your average right here, down here. And then your average over here too. So it calculates it all. And then in the snapshot, it's going to tell you it all again, right? It's going to tell you the average monthly income, $3,575. The total monthly expenses on average, $2,600, $12.50. And that means you have $762.50 in surplus every month. Which, in my experience, you can do so much with $762. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, this is your snapshot, which is really important to know. It also really helps just being able to visually see how much your life costs you and how much you're earning for your life. And then what's that gap? Because this gap will determine where you'll be at the end of the year. Because if you are constantly maxing out your expenses to your income, you're not going to create this buffer. It's going to be really hard. And I have experienced that. That's what I was saying. we were constantly going to zero. We were constantly maxing out this income every single month and on these expenses, on this life, and not having anything in a surplus. So the surplus is your buffer, and it's what's going to be your savings for emergency savings. It's going to be your savings for your future savings. It's going to be your savings for traveling. It's going to be your spending money, your soul fund, the fun things you like to do. Because the point of this is not to live this rigid life, it's to make sure that you can afford your life. A common thing that happens is lifestyle inflation, meaning if you start to earn more, say you hit that 4,000 threshold, your people often increase this more, increase your life expenses more. So they might be like, oh, I'm earning $4,000. I should go and get I don't know, a $1,600 apartment. Let me just show you. If somebody on this income got a $1,600 apartment plus utilities, we'll see what it looks like, right? This becomes really tight. Like it was at 2,600 and now it's at 3,100. Like that's a big difference. And then this surplus here, what could be your savings, your spending money, your travel money, your emergency savings, gets smaller and smaller. And one may think, I know I used to think, well, oh, it's fine, I'm young, like I don't need to be putting aside that much. I'll make it up when I'm older. But the thing is like life gets bigger as you get older. I know this from experience. You can live way below your means and have a high income and save a lot of money for the future. And in my experience, you make vastly different decisions when you have $1,000 saved, $5,000 saved, and $10,000 saved. You truly make different decisions. Because if you only have $1,000 or less, it's like, I'm going to make this life transition. I don't have enough to get my next apartment. I don't have enough to put that first month's rent or that security deposit. So if I want to make this life decision, this change, I've got to transition from working my job. And if I'm changing jobs or changing the apartment, living spaces, I got to make sure this happens ASAP. So I have to make sure that I'm going to be earning what I need to earn as soon as possible to afford the lifestyle. If you have $5,000 saved, you can change that apartment and have enough to pay for the first few months. And that makes that transition period even easier. You can move into an apartment because a lot of people nowadays are still living with their parents and they haven't yet fully transitioned into living independently. They can transition into living independently and get the things that they need for that living space, like pots and pans, like dish soap, like laundry detergent, like a bed, like a little couch, like a desk. Like it's the small things. And having that little buffer, that big buffer, that $5,000 minimum, allows you to make that transition smoother and not feel like you're panicking. And $10,000 is like a whole other ball game, especially when you're starting out. And I cannot stress it enough, like especially when you are starting out, between the ages of like 18 to like 28, having that like surplus buffer of savings is huge. So hope you get it. Hope you understand. If you don't, reach out to me. It's like DM me on school, DM me on Instagram, Facebook. You can find me on YouTube. This will be on YouTube. And I will we'll figure it out. Like that's the whole point. It's like have you understand this. I'm a rambler, so there's a lot of rambling in this video. But hopefully you understand this. Income, put in all your income for the last 4 months. If you have side up jobs, if you have benefits, like anything, any way that you're receiving money, put that in here and it'll all calculate it. Expenses. If you have something outside of these expenses, you can add it in and you can categorize it yourself. And then if you're not sure what is fixed or variable, let me just reiterate it. Fixed is something that you will pay the exact amount every single month. Variable means that it'll either be, it'll change it might be near and consistent, like closely consistent, but it's not the same every month. Um, like gas I feel like is a really good one for people to understand. It varies. Some months you can pay 200, some months you can pay 150. It varies. I have it all here, it's 200. But expenses, put it all in, see how much your life costs you just to live it. And then your snapshot, that'll tell you everything. So in addition to this spreadsheet, this income and expense tracker, you'll go, I also have this worksheet made out. So Income Freedom 30-Day Money Blueprint Challenge, week 1, know where you stand. Where are you standing? Are you standing in sand? Are you standing in water? Financial snapshot worksheet. So same kind of thing. You'll go through 2 to 4 months of bank statements, credit card statements, if you have credit cards. Fill in every section completely and honestly, like no judgment, just truth. You cannot navigate to where you want to go without knowing where you are starting. It's like, imagine you're in a rowboat and you're in the Arctic Ocean, but you want to go to the Pacific Ocean, but you're thinking you're in the Pacific Ocean, but really you're in the Arctic Ocean and you're trying to get somewhere. Like, if you don't know where you are, you won't be able to get to where you want to go. So you got to know where you're at right now. So section 1, your account balance today, not tomorrow, not next week when you're going to get paid, today. Write out your account names. If you have multiple accounts, your bank institution, your bank/institution. Some people have multiple banks. That's just what floats their boat. The type of account, if it's a checking or savings, and how much is in it right now. And then if you have cash on hand, cash on hand. And total it out so that you know how much money you have in your bank account today, not tomorrow, today, or whatever day you do this on. And then your income, go through your bank statements and highlight every income deposit, fill in the debt at the table below. So primary job or salary, income, side incomes, or freelancing if you do little gigs, government benefits or other income. Because maybe you still get an allowance from your parents. Personally, I never did, but I don't know if you do. Excuse me. So go through that. My average income, monthly income that you can pull from over here, it'll tell you, or right here, it'll tell you. And you can put that here. The same thing, you can go in here and put fixed or variable and the monthly amounts. This is just going to be, you can pull that from this snapshot here and put that all in there. Pristine. The whole point is this is like, know your numbers, and it's good to know. It's not bad to know, it's good to know. Take pride in that, like take ownership, not pride from the head, pride from the heart. Like, be confident in yourself. Average income, monthly expenses, leftover, again, it's all right here for you, right here. It calculates it all for you. You don't gotta pull out your phone and calculate it all and write it all out. That's how I did it. It takes so much longer to do it that way. And then be honest, what category takes the most money? Which, if you noticed in your expenses, it's highlighted by color. So like the deeper the blue, the higher the expense. So like obviously for this person, $1,600 in rent is their highest expense. And be straight with yourself. Like, did that surprise you? Did it surprise you? Maybe for you, it's you eat out. Or maybe for you, it's all these small bills that take up so much more money and you didn't realize, like if you looked at all your subscriptions. Just be straight with yourself. Be honest. That's the most important part, is honesty. Just be. Gotta try through. And then community check-in. Post your #1 finance pain point in the community feed, the flat with the tag week 1. Check your bank account. Check your bank and credit card accounts every day. Post your daily check-ins using the prompts pinned in the feed. So you'll find prompts pinned in the school community feed. And if you're on YouTube, I have a full school community completely for free that you can join, and you can get all these tools on there and have a community to talk to and talk to me directly and learn this skill with people. So a part of this challenge is looking at your bank accounts and your credit cards accounts every single day, even if it's for 5 seconds. A simple login, check the number, okay, done. Do it every single day because this brings awareness. And like I said before, you cannot change something without looking at it. You cannot change something without being aware of it. So yeah, and same thing to get this. It'll be in the link below. And what you do is you go to Files, you go to Make a Copy, and then you have a copy of your own. Retitle it if you so please, and then you can edit it. So yeah, I hope that you actually give yourself the time and the space to do week 1, activity 1, workbook 1, worksheet 1. Just do it. Do it. Map out how much your life costs you. Learn how much you actually earn. Because once you know, you know. You can't know something you don't know. And it's all here for you, for free. And this will take maybe an hour. I think somebody did it in like 30 minutes, which me, when I created this system, it took me like 4 hours, maybe 5, to go through everything. And now I also just want to touch on this one thing. Go through your bank statements and highlight every income deposit. Fill in the table below. And then over here, I should have said this. Anyways, if you really want to be diligent and super on point, you generally want to strive for this long-term change. Print out your bank statements. This is like an ultra pro tip, like if you want to get serious about this, not just, oh well, I guess I'll do it. Print out these bank statements. Give it each category: housing, bills, food, small bills, etc. a color, a highlighter, a crayon, a pencil crayon. Give it a color. Pull out that, sit down for an hour, and just highlight everything. And it will show you, by coloring it in, where all your money is going. You'll have one color that's just like all over your bank statement. And if I think this is really common for people eating out. If you like gave eating out a specific color, you're like, I'm only going to color this thing when I go to restaurants or when I go to the gas station to get some snacks, or if I'm just grabbing a lunch real quick. If you only gave eating out one color, for most people, it would be like basically the whole page. Like you'll have a lot of that one color of that, and that just like really ties it in. Be like, damn, I'm spending a lot of money in this. Do I need to be? Are there alternatives? I don't know. Depends how serious you actually want to change it. Anyways, thank you for doing this. Thank yourself for doing this, because this is really for you and changing your money so that you are ready for the future and that you feel like you don't have to work all the time just to make ends meet. Because you have more money than you think. You receive more money than you think. So I'll see you in week 2. There are more things like this. We're going to get deeper and deeper into this because you are going to become an expert in your finances.